Imagine owning a data center. Not just a room with a few computers, but a massive facility stretching across the size of several football fields. Inside, thousands of black server racks stand in perfectly organized rows, quietly processing information every second of every day. Every online purchase, every streamed movie, every cloud document, every video call, and every AI request could pass through your building before reaching its destination. From the outside, it looks like a simple warehouse, but hidden behind those plain walls is one of the most important pieces of infrastructure in the modern world. Without buildings like this, much of the internet we rely on every day would simply stop working. At first glance, the business seems almost effortless. Companies rent space inside your building, install their servers, and pay you every month. As more businesses move online, demand continues to grow. Streaming platforms need more storage. Banks need secure systems. Online stores need websites that never disappear. AI companies need enormous computing power to train increasingly complex models. From the outside, it looks like the perfect business. Fill the building with servers, collect recurring payments, expand as demand increases. It almost feels like you've built a digital apartment building where every rack of servers becomes another tenant paying rent month after month. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. If you asked your customers why they chose your data center, almost none of them would start by talking about the servers. The computers are important, of course, but anyone can buy servers. What businesses really care about is something far less visible. They want confidence that their website stays online during its biggest sale. They want their customer data to remain accessible at every moment. They want their applications to keep running, whether it's the middle of the day or the middle of the night. The hardware may fill the building, but that isn't the product they're really paying for. When most people think about data centers, they imagine companies renting computers, but that's only part of the story. The real customer isn't looking for another server sitting in a rack. They're looking for certainty. Imagine you're running one of the world's largest online stores. Every minute your website is offline could mean thousands or even millions in lost sales. If you're a hospital, doctors need instant access to patient records. If you're a bank, customers expect to check their accounts at any hour of the day. The hardware matters, but what businesses are really buying is the confidence that their digital world will always be there when someone needs it. Think about everything you do online during a normal day. You wake up and check your messages. You stream music on your way to work. You order lunch through an app. You save files to the cloud. You ask an AI assistant a question. Behind every one of those simple actions is a chain of computers working together inside data centers around the world. Most people never think about them because they're designed to disappear into the background. When everything works, they're invisible. Only when something goes wrong do millions of people suddenly realize just how much they depend on these buildings. That's what makes this business so unusual. Customers aren't paying you because your servers are fast. They're paying because failure isn't an option. Every second your systems stay online protects someone else's business. An online retailer keeps selling products. A hospital keeps treating patients. A bank keeps processing transactions. A streaming service keeps entertaining millions of viewers. Your success isn't measured by what people notice. It's measured by what they never have to think about. The less your customers remember your data center exists, the better you're doing your job. And that's the hidden product you've really been selling all along. Here's the strange thing about running a data center. Your biggest success is nothing happening, no headlines, no emergency calls, no frantic engineers trying to restore a crashed system. If millions of people wake up, check their emails, stream videos, shop online, and use their favorite apps without thinking twice, then your data center has done its job perfectly. Unlike many businesses that celebrate what customers notice, a data center celebrates what customers never experience. No interruptions, no delays, no downtime. In this business, Silence is a sign that everything is working exactly as it should. And that quiet reliability is far more valuable than the servers themselves. To achieve that level of reliability, almost nothing inside a data center exists only once. If the electricity fails, giant backup batteries immediately take over. If the outage continues, massive diesel generators automatically start running. If one internet connection is cut, another instantly carries the traffic. Even the cooling systems often have backups for their backups. Every critical component is duplicated because a single point of failure could bring down thousands of websites and applications. It may look like unnecessary redundancy, but in reality, it's the foundation of the entire business. The goal isn't simply to solve problems. It's to make sure customers never realize a problem happened in the first place. This is why building a data center isn't just about filling a warehouse with computers. You're building a machine designed to survive the unexpected. Power failures, equipment breakdowns, extreme weather, fiber cable cuts, even human mistakes. Every day, countless systems work together behind the scenes, constantly preparing for events that may never happen. It's a business built on prevention rather than reaction, because the moment customers notice something has gone wrong, you've already failed. The greatest compliment a data center can receive isn't praise for fixing an outage, it's that nobody ever knew there was a problem at all. If you owned a data center, you might think your business is simple. A company rents a server rack. You collect rent. End of story. But that's only the beginning. In reality, the rack itself is often just the entry point. Once a customer moves into your facility, they begin paying for a whole ecosystem of services that keeps their equipment running safely and efficiently. Electricity, cooling, internet connectivity, physical security, monitoring, technical support. The server rack may be what occupies the floor, but the services surrounding that rack are what turn a building into a highly profitable business. Electricity alone becomes one of the biggest parts of the business. Thousands of servers run every second of every day, consuming enormous amounts of power. But the cost doesn't stop there. Every watt used by a server eventually becomes heat, and that heat has to be removed continuously. That means giant cooling systems work around the clock just to keep the equipment at a safe temperature. In many data centers, customers don't simply pay for the space their servers occupy. They also pay for the power those servers consume and the cooling required to keep them operating. The building isn't just renting space. It's delivering an environment where computers can survive. The more you look at the business, the more it starts to resemble something unexpected. A data center isn't just a building filled with computers. It's a digital utility. Just as cities provide electricity and water to homes, data centers provide the infrastructure that keeps the internet alive. Every customer connects to your power, your cooling, your network, your security systems, your expertise. The servers may belong to your customers, but everything keeping those servers alive belongs to you. And that's why the most valuable part of a data center isn't what's inside the racks. It's everything surrounding them. By now, owning a data center probably sounds like an incredible business. Companies pay recurring fees. Demand keeps growing. The internet never sleeps. But before you can earn your very first customer, you have to build the facility, and that's where the real challenge begins. Unlike a normal office building, a data center isn't designed for people. It's designed for machines that must operate every second of every day. That means reinforced floors to support thousands of servers, specialized electrical systems, industrial cooling equipment, and miles of networking cables hidden behind the walls. From the outside, it may look like a simple warehouse, but inside it's one of the most complex buildings ever constructed. Then comes one of the biggest expenses of all, electricity. A modern data center doesn't use power like an office building. It consumes electricity on the scale of a small town. Thousands of servers process information every second. Massive cooling systems run non-stop. Backup batteries remain fully charged. Network equipment never powers down. And because customers expect their systems to stay online around the clock, none of it can simply be switched off at the end of the day. The meter never stops running. Every second your business operates, enormous amounts of energy are flowing through the building. That's why choosing where to build a data center is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. Operators look for reliable power grids, fast fiber optic connections, stable climates, and enough land to expand for years into the future. Some even choose colder regions because cool outdoor temperatures can reduce the amount of energy needed for cooling. In other words, the perfect location isn't necessarily where the customers live, it's where the infrastructure can support non-stop operation. Before a single website is hosted or a single AI model is trained, the success of the entire business may already depend on one simple question. Did you build it in the right place? If you owned a hotel, customers would notice the beautiful lobby. If you owned a restaurant, they'd remember the food. But if you owned a data center, your customers might never visit the building at all. They don't choose a data center because it has impressive architecture or modern offices. They choose it because they trust it. Before signing a contract, they'll ask questions that sound surprisingly simple. How often has your facility gone offline? How quickly can you recover from a failure? Can you guarantee continuous operation? In this industry, reputation isn't built on appearance. It's built on years of quietly delivering the same promise day after day. Everything stays online. That trust is often summarized by a single number: uptime. At first glance, the difference between 99% and 99.999% doesn't seem very important. But those tiny decimals represent something enormous. The higher the uptime, the less time customers are left without access to their websites, applications, or critical systems. For an online retailer, even a short outage can interrupt thousands of purchases. For a financial institution, it can delay transactions around the world. For a hospital, every second matters. Those extra nines aren't just statistics. They're a promise that your business will still be running when customers need it most. That's why the biggest competition between data centers isn't about who owns the fastest computers. It's about who can earn the most trust. Customers often stay with the same provider for years because moving thousands of servers and rebuilding an entire digital infrastructure is expensive, risky, and time-consuming. One major outage can damage a reputation that took decades to build. But years of flawless performance create something even more valuable than revenue. They create confidence, and once a customer truly believes their business is safe inside your building, you've stopped competing on hardware. You're competing on reliability, and in the data center business, that's the product that matters most. For years, data centers quietly powered the internet behind the scenes. They stored websites, hosted cloud services, processed online payments, streamed movies, handled billions of emails every day. Business was growing steadily. Then, almost overnight, something changed. Artificial intelligence exploded into the mainstream. Suddenly, millions of people began asking AI systems to write, translate, analyze, generate images, and answer questions every second of the day. Behind every one of those requests sits an enormous amount of computing power. And unlike a simple web search, AI requires thousands of powerful processors working together at the same time. The internet had always needed data centers. Now AI was asking for far more than anyone expected. Meeting that demand isn't as simple as adding a few more servers. AI data centers require thousands of specialized chips, enormous amounts of electricity, and cooling systems powerful enough to remove incredible amounts of heat. In many facilities, the cooling equipment becomes almost as important as the computers themselves. Every new AI model demands more processing power. More processing creates more heat. More heat requires more cooling. It's a chain reaction that pushes every part of the building to its limits. The challenge isn't just building bigger data centers. It's supplying enough power and cooling to keep them running every second of every day. Today, countries and technology companies are racing to build the next generation of data centers. Entire regions compete to attract them by expanding power grids, installing new fiber optic networks, and investing in infrastructure that can support these enormous facilities. Why? Because data centers are no longer just supporting the digital economy, they're becoming one of its foundations. Every breakthrough in artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and digital services depends on physical buildings filled with machines quietly working around the clock. The AI revolution may seem virtual, but it's being built with concrete, steel, electricity, and thousands upon thousands of servers. The future of technology still depends on very real buildings. At the beginning of this video, owning a data center probably sounded like owning a giant warehouse full of computers. Rows of servers, endless blinking lights, powerful machines running around the clock. It seemed obvious that the servers were the business. But after looking behind the scenes, the picture becomes much clearer. The servers are only the tools. The cables, batteries, generators, cooling systems, and networking equipment all exist for one purpose: to ensure that the digital world never stops, every website that loads instantly, every online payment that goes through, every cloud file that opens, they're all quietly relying on a promise your building was designed to keep. And once you recognize that business model, you start seeing it everywhere. Electric companies don't really sell electricity. They sell dependable power whenever you flip a switch. Internet providers don't simply sell cables, they sell constant connectivity. Banks don't just protect money, they protect trust. Data centers follow the very same principle. Customers don't wake up hoping to rent another server. They wake up expecting their business to work exactly as it did yesterday. The hardware makes that possible, but consistency is what customers are truly paying for. In this business, success isn't measured by what happens. It's measured by everything that never goes wrong. So, if someone asked whether owning a data center is a good business, the answer isn't simply about buying computers. You're building one of the invisible foundations of the modern world. A place where businesses trust you with their websites, their customer data, their financial transactions, their artificial intelligence, sometimes their entire company. The rows of servers may be the most visible part of the building, but they were never the product. They're simply the machines that deliver what customers value most, because in the end, a data center doesn't sell computers. It sells the confidence that tomorrow morning the digital world will still be waiting exactly where everyone left it.